All right. So this is getting started on YouTube. Make sure it's working. There we are. Wonderful. Okay, fantastic. So welcome everybody. I am super excited to share this with you. And if you're just joining over on YouTube, please put your name and location in the comments so that I can see who's on and where you are Zooming or YouTubing in from. And let me welcome everyone here on Zoom. Hi, Emer. Welcome, Emer in Scotland. Welcome, Kathy in California. Adrian in Ireland. Marianne in London. Welcome, Andrea in the US. Heather in South Carolina. Welcome, Shanti in Oroville, India. Carolyn in Austin. Kim in Canada, Ontario. Rebecca in Northern California. Rena in Ireland. Marcel in Cape Town. Great to see you here, Marcel. Welcome, Heather. Hi, Heather in Cape Town. Welcome, Jan in Wales. Abigail in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Nancy in Chesapeake Bay Country, Maryland. Yay. Welcome, Peggy in Asheville. Yay. Two of my favorite places right there. Chesapeake Bay area and Asheville. Welcome, Tracy in Tucson. Anjani in San Diego. Virginia in Connecticut. Hi, Tracy in Easton. I'll see you later today. Welcome, Brandy in California. Christina in West Virginia. Hello, everybody. So glad to see you all here. And welcome to everybody joining over on YouTube as well. Welcome, let's see, Rick in Pennsylvania, Dolores in Galway, Ireland, Anna in California. Awesome. So glad to have you joining me here. Okay, well, let's begin. 22 is going to be quite an exciting year, as you could imagine. We've had quite a lead up to it in the last couple of years, and we're going to continue with living in very powerful times. So we want to really tune in. It's just becoming increasingly important to pay attention to the astrology, to really look at the energies that are coming and to incorporate that into our plans for the year and to understand when it's going to be extra intense or when we'll get a little break, right? To know when are the best times to take action, when are the best times to absolutely stay home and do nothing, right? It really makes the difference. We've seen that over the last couple of years. So let's dive in. And I have just so much really powerful and valuable information to share with you here today. Okay, so I'm gonna make this full screen. There we go. So I'm calling this presentation a year of thunder, floodwaters, and revelation. And that may seem dramatic, but we are going to be in this time when Jupiter and Jupiterian energies will be very prominent. And Jupiter is equivalent to Zeus. He is the god of thunder and lightning. He's going to be in Pisces. And this is the sign of the deep, deep, deep waters of the emotions, of our creativity, of our imagination. And so this is going to be dramatic. And it can be dramatic in a really beautiful way. Jupiter is very benefic. And Jupiter has been really kind of under the thumb of Saturn for the last couple of years, ever since the end of 2019, when he left Sagittarius and went into Capricorn, and Saturn was already there in Capricorn. And then, of course, there was the grand conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn. And Saturn, being a malefic, really overpowers Jupiter and keeps Jupiter from being his expansive, really abundant, optimistic, normal, normal energetic self that we tend to expect from Jupiter. So Jupiter's been under that influence all throughout 2020 in Capricorn, and then all throughout 2021 with Saturn in Aquarius. And now finally Jupiter is breaking free from Saturn. Jupiter is moving into a different sign that Saturn will not go into for another couple of years or so. And Jupiter is in his rulership in Pisces. So this is a very powerful shift we're going to feel. And in that way, at least from Jupiter's perspective, we're going to get more help. Now, I want to make a few suggestions as you receive this forecast information. Do get comfy. We're going on an adventure into the future. So really settle in, if you need some blankets and pillows to feel comfortable, if you want to run and get a hot cup of tea ready, go ahead and do that. The invitation here is to be fully present so you can make the most of all these insights that I'm going to share. Also, keep your 2022 calendar handy and mark the important dates as we go. I'm going to share with you a lot of really powerful dates where you'll want to know what the energy is going to be on that day and that week and that month. So there's going to be a lot for you to note down and allow you to plan ahead. Now, no matter what level you are in your astrology knowledge, whether you're already very experienced or on the other side of that, if you have absolutely no astrology knowledge whatsoever, don't worry, you're going to receive a lot. I'm going to make this available, accessible to you at all of those levels. If you do have your birth chart available, keep it with you during this presentation so you can see which houses in your own chart the 2022 transits will be occurring in. This is going to give you tremendous insights about all of the ways that the planets will be working with you personally in the year ahead. And that's an important point. All of these planets that I'll speak about today, they want to work with us. They want to help and guide us to our highest growth and highest evolution. And there are some planets that do that in a more kind and gentle way. And there are some planets that do that in a very initiatory and sometimes surprising way. And the planets that tend to give us more of the difficult initiations are traditionally called the malefics. So this is Saturn and Mars. And then also I consider Pluto. Pluto is not traditionally a malefic, but he really wants to bring us into the underworld so that we can learn the deepest lessons and experience the most profound levels of healing. So it can feel difficult, right, to say the least. Now, other planets like Jupiter and Venus generally carry a very beautiful and helpful energy and inspiring and uplifting energy. It depends what condition they're in, right? Jupiter for the last 2 years with Saturn has not been able to do that so much. Venus will be in retrograde in December and January. She will be working with us a little more. I don't know if harshly is the word, but not in such a beautiful flowing manner, but it's because she has deep lessons to teach us. So the point here is that each planet carries different energies, but all of them want to work with us, want to help us learn really profound life lessons. And so I invite you to tune into that as we move through these forecast points today. Now, if you don't have your birth chart, don't worry. Just listen in, hear the collective themes. These collective energies are going to significantly impact you and give you a wonderful reference point to plan for 2022. And if you feel that you might want to book a one-on-one session with me, an alchemical astrology reading with me, you can go to this link here. It's wearesacredplanet.com/alchemical-astrology-readings. And I'll put that in the Zoom chat here, just so that everybody can easily get to it on Zoom if you want to. Just a minute to do that. So here is the link. Also on the Zoom chat, make sure that above your comments, it says everyone. If it says hosts and panelists, then I'm the only one that can see your comment. And I want everybody to see your wonderful comments. Okay, so first we're going to look at an overview and look at some of the primary themes of 2022, and then we're going to go into greater levels of detail. Now, this year will be turbulent. We do have this energy of thunder and floodwaters from Jupiter in Pisces, yet there is huge potential for growth, for really creating and starting something new, for turning a corner where we can leave behind our old patterns and really expand into the fullness of who we truly are. There is just massive potential for growth. Now, the invitation from the universe at this time, and I'm sure most of you have already experienced this in one way or another in 2021, is that we must be really tuned in to make decisions and keep our thoughts and our speech in alignment with the highest truth and integrity at all times, right? To not get pulled into the fear, to not get pulled into the lies and the fake news, to really just leave all that behind and come back to the truth at our center and act from there, make decisions from there. When we are able to do that in a strong and courageous and balanced way, the sky is the limit in 2022. Now, this is the healing work that we must do because it's not easy to maintain that all the time. But this is the invitation. Also, the challenges are the way forward. And what this means is that just like 2021, we are going to have challenges, but the challenges that are sent our way are all help. This is something that I heard Archon Lashwala say many years ago. One of my teachers, he said, everything is help. Everything that is sent to you is help. Now, it may not feel like help at the time, but it is. And so even if we are dealing with something really difficult, a difficult decision, something that seems impossible to move through, a health situation, at the ending of a relationship, these really big pivotal moments in our life, when we experience that in these years, in 2021, 2022, 2023 also, this is the universe helping us to clear out what is no longer needed. And again, we need to move away from fear, let go of the fear, let go of the old patterns, keep in alignment with highest integrity, and really allow the universe to clear us out, to make space for what needs to come in new so that we can be rebirthed, so that we can be fully recalibrated into our highest self. And so we will need to cultivate adaptability and a strong mindset and emotional courage to stay steady through the changes. This is a time of change. We need to embrace change on all levels right now. The universe is pushing us to remember what's real and true and to align all aspects of our lives with what we most deeply value, with our deepest integrity and truth from within. So you want to really continuously ask yourself throughout all the different situations you will navigate in the coming year, what am I meant to learn from this? Positive and negative experiences, right? And that's just a label. Nothing is positive or negative. It all just is. It's all help. But always ask yourself, what am I meant to learn from this? And if you continuously do this, you are going to grow and heal and evolve in highest alignment with the forces of the universe. When we resist learning the lessons, when we say no to that tough path of evolution, when we say no to the initiation that wants to come through, when we say, no, I want to cling to my old patterns because it feels better, it feels more comfortable that way right now, we're going to have to be taught them again and again, right? And this will become more difficult over time. So let go now, let the healing happen now, come into highest integrity with these universal forces now, and it will get easier and easier and easier as we go. A few more themes, just overall themes for the year. There's an invitation to really get excited about the unknown and the unexpected. We've been living in this kind of place of mystery for a while now, a couple years. And I think we're all feeling this readiness to just open to it. There's great power in surrendering to the unknown, surrendering to the mystery and embracing the impermanence, embracing the rapid changes, and actually finding excitement and joy in that. Because we're so much stronger than we think. We're so much stronger than we thought we were 2 years ago, right? You've proven that to yourself, I'm sure, in many ways, how strong you are. And guess what? You're even 100, 1,000 times stronger than that. So embrace the changes, trust yourself, trust your journey, right? We're really living in exciting, unprecedented times, and it can be uncomfortable. But when you're uncomfortable, know that you are growing. Know that you're expanding and you are breaking free. Also, ask yourself this question. This is something to really take more time and journal on and go deeply into. But what are you a slave to? What is the cage that you have built for yourself? Is it a job? Is it a relationship? Is it a house or a place you live in? Now is the time to change that. We have all of the forces of the universe behind us when we say yes to change right now. The cosmic imperative at this time is change. So really embrace this and use it to your advantage, not recklessly, okay? Not on a whim, spur of the moment. But if there's something you've known for a year or 10 years or 20 years that you've got to change, do it now. Do it intentionally and consciously and in highest integrity with the deep truth within yourself. Also, now, this time of change, this time when Saturn is working so strongly with us from visionary Aquarius, this is the time to be different, to be unique, to develop your own unique skill set, to invent a new modality, to start a new business, to create a new art form or a new mode of dance or expression. Right? Really, it is time to step outside of the crowd and build your life in an unexpected way. And to do it now, right? Don't wait, because we are at a time when our evolution, our ability to create is rapidly accelerated. And so what might have taken us 10 years to build, okay, in the, 5 years ago, right? It might have been taken us 10 years to build something we started in 2015. But if we start it now, we might be able to build it in 10 months or less. This is the power available to us now. So really tune into, as it says in the last bullet point here, take a much bigger perspective, okay? Look at what humanity needs right now, and then take your place, accept your role and your responsibility in providing or contributing toward that. Because we've got to change, right? The imperative for change is because we cannot keep living in this way. We cannot keep harming the earth. We cannot keep harming each other. And I'm including all of the species in that, right? We cannot keep harming each other. All of us beautiful living beings here, we must change and we must stop these old ways. And each and every one of you listening has a very special offering to bring to contribute toward that nobody else can do in the same way. So what is that? What is it you're here to bring? Do it now. Trust, surrender, and jump in. You will be so supported at this time. So one last slide here about the primary themes, and then we'll move into some more specific dates and information. Now in 2022, the separating and dividing energies will become stronger and more extreme. There are reasons for this, such as the continuation of the Saturn-Uranus square, which I'm going to talk about in more detail. Also, the nodes and the eclipses moving into Taurus and Scorpio. Right? So we are going to be dealing really strongly in a visceral, raw way with these energies of fear versus love, lies versus truth. And we've been in this, but it's going to continue to get stronger in 2022. So we need to be prepared. First of all, we need to strengthen ourselves and strengthen our inner courage to be ready for this. And also, we need to really anchor into the deep inner knowledge that we each get to powerfully choose which of those we're going to get on the train with. Do you want to get on the train with fear, or do you want to get on the train with love? Well, you get to choose. You are not helpless in this. You are not subject to the fears and the lies. Okay. And so the way that we get on the train with love and truth is that we must have a daily practice. We must have a way to bring ourselves again and again back to center so that we can become very skilled at holding and cultivating the highest frequency of love and truth in all that we do. So I really invite you, if you don't already have a way to come into alignment with love and the highest frequency of oneness and truth within you to really find that path for yourself so that you can quickly, in a matter of minutes, bring yourself back to center. Because there's going to be a lot of things this year that try to take us off center, that try to knock us down, that try to send us into fear or lies. And we just want to be able to rise above that, to hold a highest frequency of love, oneness, and truth, because then we'll be able to move through those challenging events without becoming rattled. So really learn how to do this now, so you'll be better equipped and able to roll with any changes that occur in these coming years. The online courses through Sacred Planet, again, if you go to wearesacredplanet.com and then go to online courses, there are many, 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 many resources for you there to help you with that, with those kinds of practices. Couple more notes here. So for the overall theme, so we will have a very strong Neptune and Pisces influence. This is because Jupiter is moving into Pisces on December 28th, 2021, and Jupiter expands everything that he is near. So Neptune and Pisces is about dreams, imagination, alternate realities, alternate dimensions. So we may often feel like we're living in a dream or a parallel reality in the upcoming year. And we want to be able to navigate that too. But it's a really potent opportunity for visioning and visionary work, for work with sacred medicines, for deepening into your dream practices. So when we fully embrace this and surrender into it, it's a really beautiful energy. It's a really beautiful, expansive and visionary space. And I think we can have so much fun there. Okay, we can have so much opening and just really connecting with other dimensions, connecting with our star families, really deep meditations, remembering our dreams and being able to work with them in a whole new way. But the negative side of Neptune and Pisces is addiction, or just going to these other realms to escape reality or escape the 3D world. So we don't want to fall into that. So just be aware, right? Use this for use it for the highest frequency kind of work. And finally here, another overall theme is Saturn, Uranus. So Saturn and Uranus had 3 exact squares in 2021. They're going to continue to be very, very close to a square position to each other throughout 2022. And so this brings up the energies of structure versus freedom, because Saturn is structure, Uranus is freedom. They are directly at odds with each other. But also, they are each inviting us to break down the old structures and create entirely new ways of perceiving reality and structuring our world. So a question to ask yourself and journal on is, what is the fight within myself between structure and freedom? Okay, this comes back to, where have we built a cage for ourselves, right? So where are structure and freedom competing forces within you? This is going to come up to be worked with significantly in the coming year. So really be prepared to go there and to work with it. Now, there are 5 key year-long or long-lasting transits that I'm going to tell you about first, and then we'll go through January through May in even greater detail. So if you don't have your calendar out yet, definitely get it out now. Begin noting those specific dates. Okay. And also, again, if you want more personalized support, here is the link to book a reading with me for the year ahead. So long-lasting or year-long transit number 1 is that there will actually be 4 Mercury retrogrades that take place at least partially in 2022. And I have the dates here. So definitely mark these dates on your calendar. These times, which are generally in about 3-week increments, okay, January 14th to February 3rd, May 10th to June 3rd, September 9th to October 2nd, and then December 29th, 2022 to January 18th, 2023. That last one is mostly in 2023. During these times, these Mercury retrogrades, this is a time to it's all the RE words that you can think of, okay? So it's, you want to revise, renew, reflect, rewrite, reinvent, recalibrate, heal, and rest. So generally, these are not times to sign a contract, like to buy a house, right? Or make a big purchase. They're not a good time to sign a new legal contract or make a big new commitment. Because when we make a big commitment or sign a contract for some important legal matter during these times, something seems to go a little sideways. This is not a time of forward movement. This is a time where, as we perceive Mercury from our view on the Earth, looking out into the cosmos, it appears that Mercury is moving backwards on the ecliptic. And this does really impact us, right, on a very real level in our 3D reality. You also don't want to rely too heavily on technology during these times or overextend yourself. So mark these dates. And also, if you have access to your birth chart, take a look at which houses are impacted here. Okay, so like the first Mercury retrograde is going to be in Aquarius and Capricorn. So what houses are those in your chart? You may already know the meaning, or you can look up the meaning of those houses. Those will give a very personalized look at how Mercury will specifically be working with you. But in general, on the collective, during these times, Mercury is inviting us to rethink our communications, to rethink the way we're using technology, and really to call ourselves up to a higher level around these kinds of mercurial themes. Also, it's about how are we using our intellect, right? How are we using the mind? Mercury is the mind, the intellect, okay? And are we using this for the highest good? Or is the mind too strong and it's bringing us into fear? It's bringing us into overwhelm. Is there some recalibrating and healing that we need to do around the mind? That is the more collective invitation for Mercury during these times. So always want to be aware of the Mercury retrogrades. Now, this is a really big one. And so the eclipses are going to be in Taurus and Scorpio for the next year and a half. This was kicked off with the November 19th, 2021 lunar eclipse, that was quite a powerful eclipse, and with really difficult energies because Mars was opposite Uranus at that time. That doesn't mean the whole cycle is going to be like that. The last year and a half before this, all of the eclipses were in Gemini and Sagittarius, but now going forward for the next 1.5 years, all the eclipses will be in Taurus and Scorpio. So it is really important to find out what houses are Taurus and Scorpio in your chart, because you're going to be initiated around the themes of those two houses. But here are the major themes collectively that Taurus and Scorpio are going to have us work with. And remember that wherever the eclipses are occurring, it's where the lunar nodes are at this time. They're always in opposite signs. Okay, so they're always pulling us into these two, the duality between the two. Okay, and inviting us to find a balance. So Taurus, where the North Node will be, and the North Node is more forward looking. Okay, the North Node is more about what our soul is wanting us to create moving forward. It's also about what we want to achieve. It can include some kind of clinging and grasping for achievement, versus the South Node, which is more about where we have been in previous lifetimes. What did we learn? What were the woundings, the trauma, the karma that we're bringing from that place? More past oriented. So Taurus, where the North Node will be, is about all that is mine. Scorpio, where the South Node will be, is about all that we share. Taurus is about matter and form. Scorpio is about transformation, letting go of matter and form. Taurus is about the earth and the body. Scorpio is about magic and spirit. Taurus is about material pleasures and possessions. And Scorpio is about the destruction of all of that and change. Taurus is about simple, tangible things, and Scorpio is about complex, mysterious aspects of our existence. So in the next year and a half, we're going to really feel both of these opposing forces pulling at us and inviting us to find a beautiful balance in the center, where we are in alignment with all of this. Okay. And of course, they seem to be opposing, but they're not truly opposing. They're just highlighting different aspects of our fully embodied human experience, right? These are all necessary and essential parts of being human. And if we ignore either side, that's going to backfire on us. You know, I know for me, I have my moon in Scorpio, and so I am much more comfortable in general in this realm of transformation, magic, spirit, change, mysterious, complex things. Being fully in the body is harder for me, right? Really embodying. I mean, I love the earth and I love to go and lay on the earth and connect with the earth, but that side is more difficult. So think about which of these is more of a challenge for you, because you will be called to work with that in powerful ways. This is continuing information about the eclipses being in Taurus and Scorpio. So one overall theme here is really embracing the full spectrum of experiences and possibilities. So between both of these, we have body and spirit, right? We have the 3D realm and all the other dimensions in Taurus and Scorpio. And so this is the invitation: embrace all of it, feel all the feelings, feel all the emotions, let your body move and experience all the different ways of being alive. Okay. Welcome all the initiations and really do your best to accept and love all of it. Really live the fullest life. This is the bigger invitation from the universe around for us during the next 1.5 years. Now, who is excited about this or who is scared about this? Right in the chat, right in the YouTube comments. I would love to hear what comes up for you as I share this, because it's intense, right? It's really intense. It's going to feel very different. The Gemini and Sagittarius eclipses that we had for the last 1.5 years, this was much more about wisdom, about intellect, communication, the themes of Mercury, as well as travel. So Jupiter, because Jupiter was under the thumb of Saturn, travel has been shut down. Jupiter rules travel. Where we were not able to go and travel as easily and see other cultures and other wisdom traditions and this kind of thing that Jupiter represents. So those were more of the themes for the last 1.5 years. This is very different. This is really calling us up to fully be present with both the body and the spirit aspects of ourselves. And so there's a lot of healing that's going to come through here. As I have noted here with the North Node in Taurus, right, there will be a focus on the body, healing through embodiment. And it can be helpful to really focus on the simple joys, right? What makes you feel happy and joyful on a day-to-day basis, and grounding yourself in that, finding strength there, strengthening the body naturally, strengthening our immune systems naturally, strengthening the mind so the body can be healthy, connecting with the earth. Okay. Important to note that this North Node in Taurus will be in the same sign with Uranus. Uranus has been in Taurus since 2015, but now the North Node is there too. So this is a lot of big energy in Taurus. Big new revelations will be coming through around these themes of the body, the embodiment, what is real, right? Strengthening our physical being so we can be more adaptable, so we can roll with these changes. Then the South Node in Scorpio is going to be, remember, the South Node is about the past and karma and where we've been in past lives. So this is really going to be about cleaning out the closets, letting go of things that are energetically complete or expired. We really don't need it anymore. We can consciously, intentionally let go. But sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we want to cling. the Taurus part of us wants to hold on to things, right? And so there will be old trauma, old pain, old fears that are going to come out and surface. But remember, when they do, they are coming out for healing. And when we dare to go fully into this deep healing work, magic will happen. This is the way the universe works. When we dare to have the courage to go there, to live the fullest life, to feel and accept and love all of it, then the impossible becomes possible, right? We must say yes to the shamanic initiatory path with the South Node in Scorpio. And it's okay, because we've been preparing for this since the beginning of 2020. And it is time to really welcome in the healing on entirely new levels so that we can transform and make space for all that wants to come next. As we go through the months, I'm going to tell you the dates of the eclipses, so you will have those soon. Let me check the chat here. Yes, would love to heal past lives. Feel as if this year's been getting me ready for 2022. Yeah, absolutely. Venus and Saturn in Scorpio. I embrace the opportunity to bring light and higher consciousness from Scorpio back up to the earth to share in tangible form. Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. Good, I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited too. It's really big. It's very exciting transformational energy we're moving into here. So many levels. Okay, let's talk about Jupiter. So another important thing to think about if you know your chart is, what is your planetary ruler? Now, if you are a Sagittarius rising, like I am, Jupiter is your ruler. And so whichever planet is your planetary ruler, it's kind of like where that planet goes, you go. And with Jupiter being my ruling planet for the last 2 years, that he's been stuck with Saturn and really like not able to fully be Jupiter, I've been feeling that too. It's really interesting. And so I'm excited, this movement, and really for all of us, this movement of Jupiter from Aquarius into Pisces, which is happening on December 29th. It's big. It's a really big shift. So Jupiter expands everything he touches, and he is in his rulership in Pisces. So he's happy there. He's free to be his fully optimistic, expansive self. So he's going to give us a lot of help along the way during this coming year. Overall, it's a very beneficial transit. Now, one thing to look out for, because Jupiter expands everything that he touches, and Pisces is very much about water, there could be an excess of water events. So flooding or really heavy rains could occur. Also, stronger than usual emotions, because the emotions are the water within us. But again, as I was saying earlier, this is a very potent time for dream work, visioning, meditation, sacred medicine work. And just be on the lookout. Make sure you're not falling into addictive or escapist behaviors or overindulging in these Pisces-related themes. But it's really beautiful in this way of deepening into the dream work, the visionary work, etc. And there's a potential here for great healing to take place, for new systems of health and well-being to come in, or to be kind of conceived of, or the ideas for these to start being generated away from mainstream limitations. And that's because Pisces is related to our health. And yeah, we want to really, I think it's important to send our collective energy toward what we want to create, right? So whatever moves you around this, whatever changes you would like to see in the collective, really begin sending prayers and intentions for that, right? So if this moves you around the creation of new systems and health and well-being outside of mainstream limitations, start sending that energy out. Start sending that as a prayer and an intention, maybe every day during your meditations. It really makes a difference on the collective when many of us are sending these intentions out. So here are the exact dates for Jupiter's movements. Definitely mark these down. So he will move from Aquarius into Pisces on December 29th, 2021, and will move quickly through Pisces and actually get to the other side of Pisces by May 10th, 2022. And from May 10th to October 28th, he'll be in Aries. So that's a quick trip through Pisces. He's going to go into Aries, then he's going to retrograde back, and he's going to move back into Pisces from October 28th to December 20th. December 20th, 2022, he'll move fully into Aries and then forward from there. So Jupiter in Aries is a whole other energy that I'll talk about a few slides later when we get to May. But for most of the year here, he'll be in Pisces. So again, Pisces is about our imagination, our intuition. It is about spirituality and compassion for others. It's about recognizing our inherent oneness, as well as dreams and visions. So really find out, if you don't know already, what house is Pisces in your chart. Because where Jupiter transits through your chart is generally a place of joy, optimism, expansion, improvement, growth, and new development. So whatever house that is for you, it is a beneficial transit. So really take a look at that and note that. And whatever themes that house holds, you want to take action this year. So for example, for me, Pisces is my 4th house. That is the house of home and family. And so the more that I can grow and develop and expand home and family this year, all of that area is going to benefit immensely, right? So I want to be putting good energy there. Like maybe I'll find a new house this year. Maybe I'll find, new ways of really playing and connecting with my kids on a new level. There's different things that come up with the 4th house. And so find out where that is in your chart. And that is a big place that you want to focus on this year. Take action with the benefit of Jupiter from December 29th to May 10th, and also October 28th to December 28th. Okay, so here we have the Saturn square Uranus continuing. And we want to keep in mind, this is happening in these fixed signs of Aquarius and Taurus. So Aquarius and Taurus are both very stubborn. Saturn and Uranus are both very stubborn. So this is a really strong energy that these two are just coming head to head again and again. And a square is a difficult aspect. Okay, a square is kind of like an opposition. It's a confrontation. So this is, again, structure versus freedom. It's going to be coming up for each of us personally. I'm sure you've already seen many structures in your life breaking down and needing to be released. That's going to continue. So this little chart down here, kind of big chart, shows, if you look at the bottom, it has 2021, 2022, 2023. So we had exact squares between Saturn and Uranus in February 2021, in June, and we're going to have another one on December 24th. And so those were exact. You can see that they're like pointed. They're going to be moving a bit apart, especially strong around May and June. And then they're going to come back, not to an exact square. See, it doesn't reach the point. They're not exactly square, but they're very close to square in October. So all of these months, really August, September, October, November, December 2022, this is going to be super strong again. So we're not done with these themes. We're not done learning these lessons. So structure versus freedom. Again, ask yourself, where are these two opposites at war within me, and how can I heal this? What decisions can I make to free myself from a cage that I'm in and build new structures that will actually create freedom? Saturn is going to support us very strongly now, and Uranus will too, when we work hard to set ourselves free. And I feel strongly, intuitively, for all of us right now, that this is really big around breaking out of corporate or having to answer to anybody else, right? starting your own business, starting your own healing modality, starting your own new art form, whatever it is you can do that is different and unique and others are not doing or others haven't thought of it yet, no matter how crazy it may seem, do it now, create it now, follow your heart, really trust. And you may need to work hard. You know, anytime you're beginning something new, yes, it takes hard work, but ultimately this is going to set you free. So really tune into what that might be for you. Very important right now, and you'll be very supported as you start taking action on it this year. Also, we need to look at, and this is especially on a collective level, but it's happening for us personally too, right? Deciding what are the necessary structures, what are the structures that are actually working. Seems in our external world, that's very few of them right now, and breaking down those that are unnecessary and not working. So how do we need to change our governments? How do we need to change our healthcare systems and our medical systems? How do we need to change our educational system? These are really big questions, and there are not easy answers, but we've got to be looking at it. We've got to be working with it. And any way that in our personal lives or in our small communities, we can start building new ways of doing these things, right? Like building new ways of educating our children in a small community, or new ways of even like forming community itself. This is very powerful right now. We're going to have all the forces of the universe with us in creating these new structures that can eventually grow bigger and bigger and come out into the collective. So really, again, follow your heart, follow your intuition around what you are building that is new. We also need to look at what is too complicated. What do we need to simplify? Again, structurally, right? How can we simplify things? And also, how can we get more organized? How can we be more just ready, just able to move more freely? And there may be disruptions in the coming years, especially with Uranus and Taurus, and with all these Saturn squares to Uranus, disruptions with technology, disruptions to electricity, disruptions to our communications. So just be prepared for that. You know, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, we're all down one day. That we're probably going to see more things like that, maybe on a larger infrastructure kind of level. So be prepared. Just be ready, you know, have your people in your local community you can count on if all the global communications go down for a week. I don't want to seed concern or worry about that, but we just want to be prepared. These are the kinds of things that could happen with these energies. Also, new technologies may be becoming available. We see, I mean, some of it is ridiculous. We see all this with Elon Musk, and we've got to be careful not to go too far with a lot of that. Not going to go there, but there will be new things becoming available. And again, we're going to need to decide what is in highest integrity, what is really aligned, what do we want to give our energy to, and not get on the train with the wrong thing. Stay on the train of integrity and highest frequency. A little bit more about Uranus and Taurus. Okay, and again, now the North Node is there too, strengthening that, putting more of a future oriented energy toward that. Okay, so possible outcomes from Uranus and Taurus. These are things that astrologers have been predicting for years and years, many of them. And it's got to happen sometime soon. Okay, significant economic changes or financial system breakdowns. Uranus will be in Taurus until 2025. So it is expected before that time there will be some major financial collapse. Again, I don't want to cause worry, but it is important to be prepared financially right now. Have savings stored up. Make your investments very wisely. And starting a new business or something new, not in a way that you have to outlay a whole bunch of money or have a huge overhead. Okay, that's not the kind of business we want to start right now, but something you can start on a really economical budget that will give you freedom from the larger financial systems, freedom from corporate, freedom from having to have a boss that determines how much you get paid. It's really powerful to be starting something like that right now, or growing what you've already started. Because again, we want to be free. We don't want to be chained to the old financial system when the breakdown occurs. There could be a new financial system that comes online, old systems to go offline. Cryptocurrency will probably continue to grow. That is very Uranian and new and different from what we've had before. There could also be exposure of financial corruption coming to light, and a changing status of how our money is being used. Maybe all the money doesn't need to go to the top 1%, right? That's really insane, actually. And also an end to living in debt, which is really using resources before they're even created. Doesn't make any sense at all, right? So anywhere that you need to heal from debt, pay off your debt, start saving up, do it now. It's really important. Also, there's a huge potential here. I see this as Uranus coming and working with us in defense of the earth. Okay. And I really feel intuitively there's this huge opportunity for a shift in which we begin giving resources back to the earth instead of stripping everything from her. And a revolution and the birthing of a new world more aligned with what's really real, like our physical bodies, our health, the earth, the other species that we live with, all the plants and animals. And I have chills as I say this, right? It really, what is real, what is important? Life itself is the most important thing. All of the ancient cultures knew that. So how can we give resources back to life itself rather than stealing from that? That gets me a little emotional, but I feel there's such a huge opportunity with Uranus and Taurus for us to do that. And it's just so important. And it's, will we take this opportunity? We absolutely must. And again, the changes that we make each in our own individual lives ripple out and start creating that in a bigger way in the collective. So never feel that you're too small or what you're doing is too small. Okay, any way that you can start giving back to the earth, spending more time with the trees and the plants, making offerings to the earth, you are in alignment with this huge opportunity that we have right now. So keep doing that, do more of it, do your rituals, honor the earth, honor life in every way that you can. Final thing on this slide is do not expect permanence, right? Like I said earlier, we need to really embrace change right now. And so values and the notion of ownership may be turned upside down. This is a whole other thing, right? The idea of owning land was ridiculous to begin with. The indigenous people never felt they owned anything, right? They were simply honored to live in connection and relationship with the land. So this whole idea of ownership may be turned upside down in some way. Okay, so let's look at the specific details for January through May. Let me just do a little time check here. Okay. All right. Now, this is part one because there's so much to cover for 2022. So in this part one, I'm going to cover the overviews that I already have done. Then I'm going to cover January through May details, including new moons and full moons. And then in part two, which I'll do a few weeks from now, I'm going to cover June through December and looking ahead for the upcoming years, right? Like 2023 to 2028, something around that range, because there's huge energies coming. Some the big planets are moving into new signs in the coming years, and it's going to be really big. Okay, so for January, we're going to open the year with Venus in retrograde. And on January 1st, she'll be at 23 degrees Capricorn, conjunct Pluto. Now, this Venus retrograde is a whole other topic, a really big topic. She's going to be retrograde from December 19th, 2021 until January 29th, 2022. So about 5 or 6 weeks there. And during all of that time, she will be in Capricorn and she will be very close to Pluto. So really important to see what house is Capricorn in your chart. Venus is going to be specifically working with you around the themes of that house. But with all of us, this Venus retrograde conjunct Pluto is very serious. It's very strong. It's going to be a total recalibration of relationships, both relationships ending, relationships could end suddenly, or new, really powerful relationships could come in at this time. And there will be relationship themes of power and values. Okay, so power, right? Are we trying to overpower each other? Is one of us dominant and the other one has a lack of power? That is not going to work anymore, right? And also, what are our values? Are we aligned in our values? Are we seeing things in the same way? Do we have the same priorities? And how do we value or honor one another? Is this being done in a good way? And if there is disparity of power, or if there is dishonoring or dishonesty, the relationship that must be healed now, or the relationship will crumble. Also, if you have any new relationships that start during this time, December 19th to January 29th, be cautious. Relationships that begin during a Venus retrograde, it's similar to something beginning during a Mercury retrograde. It's probably here to teach you a lesson. It's probably not going to be a relationship that lasts for the long term. Now, it might, if you are really in highest integrity around these themes of power and values and honoring one another. There could be new relationships that start during this time that are extremely strong from the beginning. But that would be kind of rare. More of the relationships that are initiated during this time period are probably going to be to help us learn a really deep lesson and then end, so that on the other side of the retrograde, we can welcome in that real relationship that's really meant to be. That is generally how this process works. Also, when Venus retrograde is happening, we may have previous relationship partners or beloveds or lovers coming in and showing up again in interesting ways. And you want to just be aware, this is probably not happening because you're meant to get together again. It's probably happening so that you can learn, so that you can remember, maybe so that you can complete the healing that needed to happen around that relationship or that breakup. This is a time when things are moving backwards for a relationship. This is a time when things are needing to be healed and needing to be reworked and recalibrated. Now, if you're in a relationship, don't panic, right? You just want to make sure that you're in communication with your partner about this, that you are in communication around themes of power and values and how do we honor one another, and that you are very consciously working to heal and up level around those themes. When you're in a relationship and then you survive a Mercury or a Venus retrograde together and you come out the other side of it, you will be stronger, okay? And you will be healed on much deeper levels. So whatever is happening on January 1st of each year, it does set a theme for the year, okay? So this is going to be right in the center of the Venus retrograde when we open the year. And so these themes of relationship and power and values will be with us throughout the year. So we want to make sure whatever healing work comes up for us between December 19th and January 22nd, that we really deepen into that we fully receive the lessons that are trying to come through, and that we look at what's really important for us in relationship, and how do we want a power dynamic to be in future relationships or in the current one? How do we want our values to be aligned? How do we want to honor one another? And really anchor into what intentions you'd like to set about that, so that as you move forward with the current relationship or as you welcome in new relationships throughout the year, it can be in highest alignment with these themes. Also on January 1st, Mercury is going to be very close to Venus and Pluto. Again, this sets a tone for the year. We do have really strong Plutonian energies all throughout 2022. So this is this death and rebirth, calling us into our highest levels of personal power by going through initiations. Okay. And so corruption and dishonesty will be brought into the light in some way in this year. And truth is critically important in our communications. This is Mercury conjunct Pluto, right? Truth and integrity in our communications is absolutely critical in order for us to strengthen our personal power. So the lunations, or the new moon and full moon for this month, you definitely want to note these dates. Now, always the new moon is our time to set intentions, to set new goals. And so this new moon on January 2nd is a wonderful time at the very beginning of the year. If you can just take this day off, be in retreat, be meditating, envisioning, and reflecting for the year ahead, this would be a wonderful day to do it, because it is the new moon in Capricorn. Luckily, it's not extremely close to Pluto and Venus and Mercury and all that really intense energy over there. It will be at 12 degrees Capricorn, whereas they will all be around 23, 24 degrees. And really set aside time to plan for your future. You know, map out on your calendar all of these astrological transits. Map out on your calendar when you're going to take action, when you're going to take vacation, all of these aspects that are so important to plan for, and set your highest intentions and your highest goals. I recommend writing a 1-year vision statement around either the winter solstice or around January 1st and 2nd of each year. And the way that you can do this, it's very simple. At the top of your page, you want to write a year that's one date from the day you're writing it. So if you're writing on January 2nd, 2022, you want to write, today is January 2nd, 2023, and I am ... And then fill in the page, writing in present tense as if these things are already happening, with all of the beautiful and wonderful things you want to be doing and experiencing by a year from now. But again, write it in present tense. It's already happening. You're already bringing it in. And you want to read this every single day, either first thing when you wake up or right before you go to bed. Any of you who are clients of mine, you've been doing this probably for years already. I know I have been doing it as well. This is such a powerful practice. End it with a statement of gratitude to your guides and your angels and your ancestors, and read it every single day. And every day that you read it, it becomes more and more and more true. It becomes more and more anchored in your subconscious as, yes, this is true. This is already happening. Okay, I highly recommend doing that on this beautiful new moon in Capricorn day. Then we will have a full moon on January 17th. That is a full moon in Cancer. This will be more emotional. This will be near the degrees of Pluto and Venus, and it will be more intense. Okay. Now, full moons are a time of completion, and between the full moon and the next new moon, so the full moon and the 2 weeks following it, these are times we want to let go. So every month we have a chance around the new moon and the week or two following it to set intentions, to let things start to grow and expand. And these moon cycles last for about 6 months until the full moon in that same sign, right? So this new moon in Capricorn, the things that you set intentions for will probably be very strongly manifesting by the time we have a full moon in Capricorn, which will be 6 months later. And so every month we have this chance to set new intentions and create new things. And then every month we also have a chance to release and let things go. That's the full moon and the 2 weeks following it. So really tune into those cycles, mark these dates on your calendar, and pay attention to how you feel, and take the opportunity to create new and let go of the old every month. Now, February is an extremely powerful month. I'm sure you've heard all about the United States having its Pluto return and Neptune opposition, so I'll get to that in a minute. But really beautifully, on February 14th, so that's Valentine's Day, at least in the US. I don't know if that's celebrated in other countries. We have a Mars-Venus conjunction in Capricorn. Now, this is after Venus has come out of retrograde. And so she's going direct again. and Mars comes and joins her. And so this is really a beautiful healing and revival of relationship after all the intensity of the Venus retrograde. And Venus and Mars are really like running close together all month throughout February. It appears like Mars is running to try to catch up with the goddess. If you look at the ephemeris, that's what it looks like. It's really, really beautiful. So this is a magnificent time for relationships. You've just done all the deep healing work throughout the Venus retrograde. Venus is direct again, and she is just running alongside Mars, and they are, you know, there's a huge potential for joy and love, sensuality and sexuality, and new breakthroughs around your relationships. It's also about the balance of masculine and feminine. So a key date is February 14th. And then also I have on the next slide, I think it's March 7th, that they have exact conjunctions. But really all throughout the month of February, they are very close together. So then let's look at the United States. And really what happens in the US does significantly affect the rest of the world. So I never want to overly focus on one country over the other, but this is a really big moment for the US, and it does tend to affect the rest of the world, what happens in the US. So it is important for us to all look at. So the Pluto return for the US will be exact on February 22nd. And this has never happened before for the US. It only occurs every 225 years. So this is the first time it's happened since the Constitution was signed. And 225 years ago was about the time that the Constitution was signed. So this indicates a new beginning or a final end for the United States. And yeah, we could, there will be many other astrological updates that you'll be able to find online that will go into way more detail about this. So this is not my main focus here of this presentation, but it's really big. And we know there's a lot that needs to change here. There's a lot that is, has been very difficult. So I hope we can make a new beginning. I hope we can make big changes. There's a lot more to say about that. Also, the Neptune opposition of the US, which occurs only every 165 years, will be exact on February 18th. So that these two very rare and unusual aspects are happening within 4 days of each other, this indicates some sort of massive changes, right? Possibly redefining the Constitution, redefining the values of the country. What do we actually stand for? Having some significant shift in that. Leaders of other countries have passed away, have died during the Pluto return of that country. There are really dramatic possibilities with this. And so again, I think we want to all send out our energy and our prayers for the highest outcomes, right? For the highest and best results from this, but it's going to be something really big. 165 years ago was just before the Civil War began. So that Neptune opposition, it was from, the last one was from 1857 to 1859. And the Civil War began in the early 1860s. So this is, it's big, it's serious. We need to be very aware and conscious of what we are creating in the US at this time, so that we can take the highest path. Then we have a new moon on February 1st, new moon in Aquarius, and a full moon on February 16th. That will be a full moon in Leo. And again, always on the new moon, you want to look at what house is that new moon occurring in? So what house is Aquarius for you? And around those themes, set your intentions for the 6 months ahead or the year ahead. And always at the full moon, again, look at what house is this happening in for you? And what needs to be released now around those themes, and really either put that into action or set your intentions or ask the universe to help and guide you around those things that need to be released and let go. Question in the chat here, would Venus retrograde be a good time to do a relationship course with your partner? Yes. So Venus retrograde, if you're currently in a relationship, definitely do any healing work that you can do. Relationship healing, healing around sacred sexuality, healing around communications, healing around your values and setting goals for the future together, any kind of healing in your relationship. It's a very powerful time to do that. And if you're working together in that way and you're in agreement that, yes, we're going to do this together, we're going to heal together, we're going to up level our relationship together, then you will receive all of the blessings and benefits from Venus at that time. So really wonderful to do that. Great question. Okay, so, and what I'm trying to do with each of these months is just to give you a feeling, a sense for what will be the energies of each month, and then these key dates to take certain actions. So March 2022 is really a focus on ideas and plans for the future. So March, you know, being in the Northern Hemisphere, the time of the spring equinox, it is a powerful time for forward movement. So really take advantage of that in March. If there's something new you want to start, if there's new ideas you want to take some time to develop and start building them into reality, this is a wonderful time to do it. We have some beautiful transits to help you with that. So on March 5th, the Jupiter and the Sun will be conjunct in Pisces. This is also known as Jupiter Cazimi. Whenever a planet is conjunct the Sun, it is that planet's Cazimi. I just think that's a really cool word, Cazimi. So Jupiter, Sun, Cazimi in Pisces. On this day, we're going to be really wide open to possibilities and opportunities. This is very bright and shiny, Jupiter and the Sun together. Again, Jupiter expands whatever it touches. This is about shining our light really brightly. It can be a lot of fire. So it could be a little intense, or the negative side of this is you can get a little too overboard with the ego or with thinking you have the greatest idea better than anybody else, right? So you just want to be aware and not go too far with it. But really take this day to open up to new possibilities, new opportunities. You might feel especially generous, optimistic, sociable. This is a fantastic time to take concrete action steps to start something new or to grow something. So start a business, if a new relationship is starting at that time, it's very fortunate, very wonderful. Start something new at this time, and you will be very blessed in that. And then on March 7th, this is so interesting. Again, remember, Venus and Mars have been together, traveling together all throughout February, and including the first 2 days of March. And on March 7th, they're conjunct again at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So they both cross together from Capricorn, moving out of where the Venus retrograde occurred with Pluto and into Aquarius. I just find this really fascinating and beautiful because they're moving out of the restrictions with Capricorn into the future-oriented, community-oriented, unique, and different ways of expression-oriented Aquarius together. And so this is the sacred masculine and sacred feminine traveling together into a new world. So we want to really use this day, access this day with that in mind. Mark this with a big bold highlighter on your calendar or stars. This is a very special day. There's something really special happening here for the sacred masculine and sacred feminine, healing together, traveling together into the future. And so I hope this shows up for beautiful ways for all of you, for all of us in our relationships, in what we're building, in our communities, in any place that it is beneficial for the sacred masculine and sacred feminine to be in balance and in peace as we move into the new world. Then on March 21st, we have Mercury and Jupiter conjunct in Pisces. And this is always really exciting. I love Mercury and Jupiter conjunctions. This is a day when your mind and your intellect can just expand into the most optimistic, highest levels, highest dimensions, new ideas, big, brilliant, inspiring ideas can come through on this day. So this is a really powerful day for visioning, planning, strategizing for the future. So mark that day boldly as well. So March this is really beautiful energies this month. We want to definitely, if you need to take action on something, do it in March, especially on March 5th or March 21st or any of the days surrounding that. And we have a new moon on March 2nd at 12 degrees of Pisces, and then a full moon on March 18th at 27 degrees of Virgo. I'm not going into great detail on all the new moons and full moons. I'll do future videos about that. But again, look at the house that these new moons and full moons are occurring in. New moons are about starting something new, planting seeds, setting intentions. Full moons and the 2 weeks after are about releasing. Now, April's a big month, and I actually needed 2 slides for this because there's so much happening, including an eclipse. So April 2022 is a month for dreaming and visioning. This is because not only do we have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, but Venus is going to be joining them in Pisces. So Jupiter will be exactly conjunct Neptune at 23 Pisces on April 12th. This is the time, if we're going to see flooding, extremes of water, extremes of emotions, melting glaciers, rising tides, this would be the time. That's a more negative aspect, right? Of course, we don't want things to be too extreme with water on our planet, but if it's going to happen, this could be the time. Now, on the other hand, on a more positive side, this could signal an even more massive expansion of the spiritual awakening that is happening for humanity. Because Neptune is about spirituality, compassion, awakening, imagination, intuition, and Jupiter is going to be directly joining with Neptune, and Jupiter expands whatever he touches. So there's an immense opportunity for awakening processes to happen around this time, also for connectedness and humans coming together for the highest good for all beings. So we want to really use this time for its highest benefit. I hope some beautiful gatherings and community events will happen around this time. And yeah, I just feel there's going to be huge new numbers of people awakening. Again, if you want to start a business, this is the time, because these people who never planned on having a spiritual awakening, and because of COVID and because of all the crazy things happening in our world and the life and death questions we're facing, they're having this awakening, right? Maybe they've been in corporate and super mainstream all their life, and all of a sudden they're realizing they got to throw all that out the window and take a completely different path that their soul is calling them to. They need your help. They need our help, those of us who have already been walking the path, right? So really think about, how can you help? How can you tap into this energy to help these awakening processes, to help build more connectedness and coming together as humanity, right? What are you here to contribute to this? And started in April, started in March 2022 if you haven't already, or grow it in March 2022, and then really bring it forward in April because it's going to be so needed. Then on April 27th, we will have Venus conjunct Neptune at 24 degrees of Pisces. This is a dreamy and blissful energy. And remember that Jupiter is still very close by. Okay, so all of those together, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, it's a really beautiful energy. So this is a wonderful day if you can be on vacation with your beloved and just take the day off, or just with yourself. You are your beloved as well. Take the day off, get out into nature, dream, vision, allow yourself to be lazy. Allow yourself to fully enjoy a massage, whatever you really need. Take the day off and do it on that day. And then April 30th, we have Venus conjunct Jupiter at 27 degrees of Pisces. This is the 2 greatest benefics coming together. This is always so wonderful when Venus and Jupiter come together. And so this is something that I didn't look at and see if we could be able to see this in the nighttime sky. That's a good question. I'll get back to you all about that. When Venus and Jupiter are conjunct in the nighttime sky, it creates such a bright star together. The 2 planets, seem to be a very bright star. But in any case, this is going to be about generosity, about searching for meaning in our relationships, fruitfulness, love, abundance, beauty, and blessings. However, this is also a solar eclipse day. So it's an interesting mix of things. Now, it is a very peaceful solar eclipse, if an eclipse can be peaceful. It's one of the more calm eclipses that we're going to have. So the eclipse will add some uncertainty to the air, but all in all, this is a beautiful transit, especially if you have planets or angles of your birth chart near this degree. Really beautiful energies. And remember, with any of these transits that I'm telling you here, a few days on either side also carry the same energy, especially the few days before, which is considered that the planets are applying to one another rather than the few days after they're moving apart. So a few days before and the day of are the strongest times that we'll feel this energy. Afterwards, we'll still feel it, but again, they're separating, they're moving apart. So it's not quite as powerful. So you don't have just this one day to take advantage of these. Look at, at least 2, 3, 4 days in advance as well. Now, continuing with April, we have 3 major lunations in April because we're going to have 2 new moons this month. So we have a new moon on April 1st at 11 degrees of Aries, a full moon on April 16th at 26 degrees of Libra, and then a new moon solar eclipse on April 30th at the same time as that Venus and Jupiter conjunction. This eclipse will be with the moon at 10 degrees, with the moon and sun at 10 degrees Taurus. So this is the first eclipse in Taurus following that wild November 19th, 2021 lunar eclipse in Taurus. But this does have a different energy. Now this is also conjunct Uranus, so there could be some surprises, some new revelations, some shocking thing might come out around this time, maybe about the financial system, maybe about our how we're using money, how we're using resources. Now, because this is in Taurus, Venus is the ruler of the eclipse, and she is conjunct Jupiter, as we just discussed on the last slide. So this is overall a really positive energy. Eclipses always shake things up. Eclipses always bring some uncertainty, but for an eclipse, this is pretty peaceful and beautiful. So this eclipse is going to bring new beginnings around strengthening our sense of security. These are Venusian themes, reevaluating our relationship with money, increasing our earning power, as well as healing around our values and our self-worth. So this is a chance to make important changes that will benefit you over the next 6 months, and you are invited to choose wisely. Really let Venus and Jupiter and this eclipse help you out in up-leveling around all of these themes: money, earning power, values, self-worth. It's a really important time to take advantage of that. And especially if you have if your planets are important aspects in Taurus, this will be really big for you. Okay, and then we're almost complete with this forecast for today. So so glad so many of you have stayed on live with me, and I know many of you will come back and watch all of it later. So May 2022 is a chance to break free. So we have Jupiter moving into Aries, and this is going to be another very dominant energy from May 10th to October 28th. It is very different than Jupiter in Pisces. It's Jupiter in Aries. So Aries is, and Jupiter in Aries specifically, is going to be about new leadership, new beginnings, a true pioneer spirit. So really like forging new pathways ahead, new freedom-based ways of thinking, breaking limitations, breaking free from rules and regulations, because Aries says, I am. And Aries does not want to comply with the rules of anybody else. Aries wants to forge its own path, do things with confidence and courage and in a whole new way. Okay, and Jupiter is going to come in and expand and increase all of that kind of energy. So this is about breaking free from rules and regulations, following your own path without looking back. Freedom, creativity, individual growth, and confidence will all be expanded. So again, whatever you want to start new, here's another fantastic opportunity to do it. And Jupiter will be in Aries from May 10th to October 28th, 2022, and then we'll come back into Aries from December 20th until May 16th, 2023. So this will be a preview. This will be, it's a good long time, May to October. It will be a chance for us to begin working in these realms of really breaking free, really charting our own path, a very, very pioneer spirit we have with Aries. And then we'll get another chance from December 20th, 2022 to May 16th, 2023 to deepen even more, expand even more into all of this. And in May, we have another eclipse. This is the, eclipses always come in pairs. So we have that April 30th, solar eclipse, new moon. Here is on May 16th, a lunar eclipse, full moon. And this is a total lunar eclipse. This will be at 12:15 a.m. New York time. So if you're in the Americas, definitely you'll be able to see this. This is where the moon turns red, very powerful, and it will be a Scorpio full moon. So this is a more difficult eclipse. This is going to be the sun and moon both square to Saturn. Mars will be conjunct Neptune. So a much more difficult energy than the April 30th one. This will be about shattering the illusions, something maybe you were clinging to or hoping for, and it might get shattered, okay? And we need to realize, again, it's all help, even when it's difficult. It's help, it's helping us come back to truth, come back to what is true and in highest integrity within us. Scorpio is very emotional. Okay, so there may be emotional declarations that you need to make. What has been building inside of you that needs to be expressed, right? The cosmos is going to demand that you let it out at this time, that you let it out of your system now so you can heal. And this is the deep work of Scorpio. We're going to feel this, when the eclipse is in Taurus, like the April 30th, that's a lot easier. When the eclipses are in Scorpio, it's much deeper, more initiatory, really excavating within ourselves so that we can heal and break free into the magic and into the highest possibilities. So if you successfully express this, whatever has been building inside of you, if you successfully express it around this eclipse time, then very profound healing and magic can occur over the next 6 months. So it's an intense invitation, but it is here to help us. And then we'll have a new moon in Gemini on May 30th. That is not an eclipse. So that mostly concludes my presentation for today. June will be covered in detail, and June through December in part 2, as well as looking forward to future years. So you don't want to miss part 2. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel or subscribe on my website to my email list so you'll know and be notified when part 2 becomes available. And I do want to just remind you of this link here, okay, for alchemical astrology readings with me. And I will do some Q&A in just a moment, so hold on if you want to ask any questions. But if you would like to receive more personalized support and have a 60-minute or a 90-minute one-on-one session with me, where we'll create a 22 plan for you that's specifically based on your own birth chart and bringing into account all of these transits and what you most need to be aware of and when you should take action or when you should rest and heal. I highly recommend booking a reading with me. You can go to my website, wearesacredplanet.com, and then go to alchemical astrology readings. Now, I'll put that in the chat here once again, and I'll put it in the chat on YouTube if it will let me. I don't know if it will let me while we're live, but here is the chat in Zoom, and let's see. I can. Okay, here's the link to learn more about readings. There we go. Okay, wonderful. So I would love to take some questions. So you can write your questions in the chat on either Zoom or YouTube, and I will answer them to the best of my ability here. So let me stop sharing this screen There we go. Hi, everybody. I'm back. Full screen. Okay, so I'm looking at questions in Zoom. And thank you, everybody, for your kind words. I'm glad. I hope it's really, really helpful. We have such great opportunities this year, and it is going to continue to be intense, but that's okay. You know, we're used to that. We can handle it, and we are ready to heal. So let's take advantage of all the healing energies. Valerie says, what month during the first 6 months of 2022 is good for a location move? So March would be a really wonderful time for that, Valerie. March is the very most powerful month for forward movement. I'll bring back the slide from March here, just so you can fully soak in the sense of that. And we have just so much support. So Jupiter and the Sun being conjunct, Mercury and Jupiter being together, this would be a wonderful time to move, a wonderful time to start, you know, a new life somewhere new. Also, let's see here. Also May, okay. It's a little tricky. It gets a little tricky after that because generally, I don't recommend moving around an eclipse, and we have the eclipses on April 30th or May 16th. So March is really the best because we have some distance from the eclipses, and all the energy of March is very powerful and forward moving. Even February would be okay, but March is the best. So I'll leave it at that. All right, let me go back to the chat here. Yeah, Valerie, April or May, not as good because of the eclipses. And Mary, yes, I will send the slides out with this recording. So if you're on my email list, you will get the slides. So if anybody here is listening and is not on my email list, go ahead to wearesacredplanet.com. I'll put this in the chat again. And just register for the free gift that you see on my homepage there, and you'll be able to receive the recording or the slides along with the recording. Okay, let's see here. Wonderful. Let me see if there's any questions over on YouTube. Dun, dun. Yeah, any questions, feel free to write them in the chat on YouTube or in the comments on Zoom, and I can answer them. And if you don't have, let's see here, Dolores says, as well as Jupiter activating the house it's transiting, does our natal placement of Jupiter get activated? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Jupiter, just because Jupiter is coming into a much happier place, that is going to benefit your natal Jupiter, wherever your natal Jupiter may be. Especially, like I mentioned earlier, if Jupiter is your ruler, if your rising sign is Sagittarius or Pisces, you're going to benefit extra immensely from this move of Jupiter into Pisces, into his rulership. But it does depend on where your natal Jupiter is placed, okay, and Jupiter's condition there, what other planets are nearby. So there are some, different scenarios that could unfold, but in general, this is very beneficial for Jupiter, in your chart, just because Jupiter in the skies is going to be a lot happier in Pisces. Great question. Yeah, I hope there's not war on the horizon, but with the Pluto return and the Neptune opposition, it's possible. And so again, I think we really all should send out highest intentions for peace, highest intentions for our leaders to be able to make changes in peaceful ways that benefit everybody, where there is not a great amount of harm done, preferably not any harm done. We really make a difference for the intentions and the prayers and the energy that we send out into the collective. So as we approach February 2022, This is very important for all of us to just bring into our meditations, bring into our daily thoughts, and to not be existing in a state of fear or anger or hate on any consistent basis is really important. Whatever energies we're holding, whatever frequency we're holding most of the time, it goes out into the collective. So in order to counteract these energies of fear and anger and separation that are so prevalent, globally at this time, the more that each of us can hold the frequency of love and oneness and truth, it will help to shift that, right? It will, it will put a dent in that. So we really want to be aware and be holding the highest vibration and not be thinking about war, not be putting energy toward that, right? Really putting energy toward our highest frequency of love and oneness. Okay, I'm looking for more questions. Yes, let me put the link. So I did put the link to learn more about readings in the YouTube chat. I think this has happened before. I think it doesn't show up. So let me see if there's another place I can put it on the YouTube screen. Yeah, I don't. So I'm putting the link for readings in the YouTube chat again. If you all on YouTube can't see it, I apologize. I don't know why it works out like that. But just go to the link wearesacredplanet.com, and then it's alchemical-astrology-readings, and you'll get to the page. Thanks for asking, Greg. Okay. Let's see. Valerie says, what if the move, so talking about moving to a new house, what if the move began in March but didn't complete until maybe May? Would that still work? Yeah. So the initiating moment of that is important. Also, the time that you sign the contract or the lease for the new house is an important initiatory moment. The time that you move the very first piece of furniture into the house, or that you first come and unlock the door with a key once it's yours, all of those are important initiatory moments. So if one or more of those moments can happen in March, you will be tapping into those beneficial blessing energies in March. Hopefully that's helpful. Or yeah, if you're moving in with family, then yeah, like take a box of your clothes there in March. Take some special sacred items there, even if they're in a box, right? Just take them and leave them there in March, and that will be helpful in creating the initiating energies of it in March. Let's see here. So Bryn is asking, how will Cancer Sun and Sagittarius Ascendant do next year? Jupiter in 8th. So these kinds of questions, I really need to see your whole chart, because there's so much more to it than just a Cancer Sun or Jupiter's in this house, right? I really, in order to answer a question like that, I want to have the whole picture in front of me, because there could be many different aspects that are going to contribute to your full experience of 2022. That is not something you're mentioning in the comment. And yeah, I want to have the full picture in order to give you the full story and tell you about the opportunities, tell you about potential challenges. So that's why it's really valuable to have a reading. So definitely check out the reading possibilities, and I hope I might be able to see you in a reading soon, and we can go all deeply into all of that. Okay, yes, Valerie for the box, awesome. Okay. Well, if there are not any more questions, I will close the call for now. So just keep in mind, everybody, that I'm going to put out a part 2 to this that will be June through December, as well as looking ahead to future years. That'll come out maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. Still doing research and gathering information about that, so it can be complete and ready for you. I hope this is really helpful for the overview and for the January through May details. I hope that you find it inspiring, and yeah, really plan ahead. Look for when you want to take key actions. Look for when you want to take your holiday and your time off, right? Look for the key days that you want to work with your partner on your relationship. We can really just vastly increase our success and our fulfillment around all of our life activities when we bring it into alignment with the energies of the cosmos. It's very, very powerful. So I am sending you all lots of love and many blessings for your journey in 2022. And I'll see you again for part 2 in a few weeks here. Much love, everybody. Mwah. Blessings. Take care. And happy holiday season to everyone.